اللهم صل على فاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها بعدد ما أحاط به علمك.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ولعن أعداءهم أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج عليهم الصلاة والسلام يا وارث الفدق والبقية المقدس بحق حق فاطمة الزهراء وبحق أهل البيت عليهم الصلاة والسلام. Respected elders, youngsters, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. The SOS of all times, the go-to of a believer, and the only way through which a person can be saved from the treacherous clutches and from drowning into the sea of Dalala. The traditions say about Zamaan that during the finalist of times, a person will be a believer in the morning, but in the evening he will turn into a hypocrite or a disbeliever. Or at night he would be a believer and by dawn he should become a hypocrite or a disbeliever. Some other riwayahs say, some other narratives say that this statement is that a person can go to sleep as a believer but wake up as a disbeliever, or would wake up as a believer but by the time he goes to sleep he has already become a disbeliever. And this brings us to this Usool dua that is usually paired with dua al-ma'rifah, which we usually like to think of as its sequel, which is dua al-GHAREEQ, the prayer of a drowning man. What is the meaning of the word GHAREEQ? GHAREEQ literally means to drown. In the seas of the last of times, men will be drowning in the scenes of vices all around him. And as we can see today, the invitation to sin is in a single click, and the only way to remain safe is through supplication. In Dua al-Sahiri that we recite in Shahru Ramadan every night, narrated from Minhajul Arifin, we tell Allah, فَمَنْ لِلْمُذْنِبِ الْمُقَصِّرِ إِذَا غَرِقَ فِي بَحْرِ ذُنُوبِ وَآثَامِ. What about us? فَمَنْ لِلْمُذْنِبِ, the sinful one, al-muqassir, the one who falls short. Where? إِذَا غَرِقَ فِي بَحْرِ ذُنُوبِ وَآثَامِ, the one who is gharq, who is drowned in what? فِي بَحْرِ ذُنُوبِ, in the seas of sins. وَآثَامِ, and they have overpowered us. Shaykh Saduq, rahmatullahi alayhi, narrates from Abdullah bin Sinan, who says, Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam said, after this a time of such a doubt will befall you, that you will be without the visible signs and a guiding Imam, and no one shall be able to achieve salvation from this except those who recite Dua al-GHAREEQ. And what is the Dua al-GHAREEQ? Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Muqallib al-Qulub, Thabbit qalbi ala Deenik. O Allah, O Beneficent, O Merciful, O Changer of the states of hearts, make my heart firm on your religion. It is interesting to know that Imam has particularly used these three names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that make up the Bismillah, which is the most important and most frequented verse in the Holy Quran. We can't go into the entire tafsir and importance of Bismillah. However, these three names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when invoked together makes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at his abd with love and mercy. Another aspect to realize that the verse of Bismillah chases away shaitan, and in the times where vices are at its peak, Imam uses these same Asma al-Husna, these very three names of Allah, for staying afloat and safe from the drowning seas of vices, which, by the way, is through the waswasa of shaitan. Subhanallah, the hikmah of the Sadiq Ali Muhammad, the sixth holy Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. So briefly, let's look into these names that Imam has used as a means for seeking salvation. Ya Allah. The word Allah is basically a summary, a mixture, a compilation, or a complete, ultimate one word for all phrase. What do we mean? It means to say that when you want to call upon Allah using various of His attributes, all these attributes are comprised in one of His lofty name. And that name is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you say Allah, you are saying Rahman, you are saying Rahim, you are saying Kareem, you are saying Ghafoor, you are saying Shakur, you are saying all the other names of Allah in the name of Allah. In this one word, it's one word which is very, very deep, which comprises of the ultimate embodiment of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ar-Rahman, as we know, is a merciful one, and Ar-Rahim is a benevolent one. Now, merciful and benevolent are more or less synonyms. So what and where is the difference between the kindness of Allah in Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim respectfully? Mufassirin have narrated that Ar-Rahman is Allah's mercy for all His creation in His world in dunya, regardless of whether they recognize Him as the Lord or not, regardless if they worship Him or not, regardless if they thank Him or not, regardless if they perform good deeds or not. So what does this mean? It means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created, He took the responsibility of sustaining His creation on earth. This is His zimmedari, it is His zimma. He took this responsibility, and so it is His graciousness and kindness or mercy that He continues to honor that responsibility. He continues to provide for the whole of His creation regardless of their actions. But this mercy and kindness, my dear, my friend, it is limited to this world and this dunya only. Rahim, on the other hand, is the benevolence and kindness and grace and mercy and pardon of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His believers and those who strived on His path and on the path of His messenger and the appointed authorities all over the universes. So the Rahimiyya will be manifest in the hereafter, in the Akhirah. So it is the kindness of Allah that He will show in the Akhirah. Ya Muqallib al-Qulub. Muqallib al-Qulub, interestingly, is the changer of hearts, and very intriguing because we have implored Allah by His most powerful names, and then we tell Him, "Oh, the changer of hearts, keep my heart firm in your religion." What's the connection between Allah, Rahman, Rahim and Muqallib al-Qulub? Now this is a game changer. It is narrated in Al-Kafi, volume 1, page 163, that a companion of Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, called Muhammad ibn Hakim, asked the sixth Imam, "Ya ibn Rasulillah, al-ma'rifatu min sun'i ma hiya?" This ma'rifah, who is doing it? Whose work is this? Meaning, how does a person attain ma'rifah? Imam replied, "Min sun'i Allah, laysa lil-ibadi fiha sun'i." It is the work of Allah. The servants have no role in this. This means to say that like ilm al-huduri, the true knowledge that you can taste and perceive and act upon, is a guiding light from Allah unto our hearts. Similarly, the ma'rifah of the Imam is the doing of Allah in His divine light. Allah places the ma'rifah in the hearts, but this placing is proportionate to our thirst and our yearning for the Imam of our time. So it depends on us how much we strive, how much we crave for the Imam of our time. It's not enough to just say, "Matarab sarana wa narak." It's not enough. This has to come in actions as well. An alim has the opportunity to meet the Imam of the time frequently, and the Imam one day asks him, "What would happen to you if we stopped meeting you?" He says, "O Mawla, I will die without meeting you." Imam replies, "Yes, we are aware of this state of your heart. That is why we made ourselves apparent to you." So the Imam knows how thirsty we are for him, and accordingly he responds to us with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was the level of Ali bin Mahziyar as well. Therefore, in Dua al-GHAREEQ, we are calling upon Allah with all His attributes, along with His mercy and benevolence, that we are acknowledging that only He and Him alone can guide us to the path. So by invoking the name of Muqallib al-Qulub, we are professing that only He can bring us to the path, else we remain deviated. And thus, we lay our minds, hearts, souls and lives and faiths at His mercy, and we seek His help to remain on this path successfully. Another interesting aspect, if we notice, is that while in Dua al-Ma'rifah we say Dalaltu an Deeni, but here we are saying Thabit qalbi ala Deenik. What is the reason for this? In Dua al-Ma'rifah we are professing our stand that we have by our own free will and choice entered into the fold of Islam, and so we implore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us towards the understanding His Tawheed and Adala and the authority of Nubuwa and the Wilayah of Imama on us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La ikraha fi Deen, there is no compulsion in religion, and so we, without being compelled, have chosen to enter the fold of Islam, and now we are asking Allah to help us succeed in this path that we have chosen for ourselves, in order to have a successful Qiyamah, because this is our choice, and it becomes our religion, our path. Thus we say, Deeni, my religion. However, in Dua al-GHAREEQ, we are acknowledging Allah's authority over us and submitting to Him and fully accepting Inna Deena Indallahi al-Islam. We are asking Him in professing humility that this is His religion, Baba. He chooses whom He wants, and so we are imploring Him to accept us and to keep us or our hearts firm on His path without being deviated. Thus we say, Deenik, your religion. This dua is so important that while we recite every dua once in a single time, it has been narrated that whenever one recites Dua al-GHAREEQ, he should repeat it and make it at least twice at a time. It is important to note that while one's guidance is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't mean that we can relax and do as we please and expect Allah to come and pull us to the right path. It is our duty to ensure that we are safeguarding ourselves, our senses, our hearts, our limbs, our thoughts, our words and our actions from all evil and misdeeds as much as we can. And it's also a level of active intizar whereby we are striving to keep pure and to be holy for the pure and holy one. As the Persian saying goes, Himmat-e Mardan Madad-e Khuda, the effort of a human being should be there in order to receive Allah's divine help and guidance. So therefore, if we take one step towards Him, He has promised to take 10 steps towards us. Where else can we find such a loving Lord? It is only fair to announce the verse of فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, for the bounty of Allah's love and compassion towards us. Inshallah, join us in the next clip for tips on increasing our ma'rifah. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم عجل وليك الفرج عليهم السلام. Just